WWDC 2024 happened about a month ago. After thinking about it for a little while, I am finally ready to share what I'm excited about and a couple of things that I'm not too sure about. Boosh! What's up guys, it's Ben back again with another video. Today we're going to go over WWDC 2024, a couple of my thoughts on some of the software updates that's coming out, and a couple of the thoughts that I have on the things that I'm not really too excited about. But first, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ben. I make videos and vlogs about photography and tech. If that's something that you're interested in, hit that subscribe button and consider joining the family. Okay. Let's get into it. So WWDC happened between the dates of June 10th and June 14th of 2024. And if you don't know what this event is, it stands for the Worldwide Developers Conference. This event is where Apple unveils the newest developer software and software updates for all of the Apple devices that will be coming out this year. And this year was no different. Some would say a little bit over the top, but I think that overall it was a successful WWDC for Apple. As you all know, I'm sort of an Apple fanboy, but I do reviews on this channel of Android devices as well. But today we're going to be talking strictly Apple. So WWDC opened with sort of a Fortnite entrance of the speakers jumping out of an airplane and then parachutes opening, and on the tops of the parachutes, basically it gave you the expectations of what was going to come during the keynote of WWDC, and I'm gonna be honest, it was kinda cringy, but I think it was also pretty cool. Especially the hair helmet that Craig wore during the intro. I really enjoyed the little subtle hair things that happened, like the hair app that was on his screen and all the other stuff. No more rambling, let's get into some of the things that came out of it. The first thing that I'm gonna talk about is the Apple TV, specifically a new feature called Insight. The way that Insight was explained is that when watching a show on Apple TV Plus, you can swipe down and see the actor and the music information from the movie or the show that you're watching. You can also add music to your Apple Music so that you can listen to it later on from the show. I do like this feature, and I think that it's helpful for people who are trying to figure out the actors' names that are on the show without having to pull up your phone or take your eyes away from the screen. I know that Amazon Prime has this feature, and I personally think that all streaming services should have it. I think it adds to the usability and the interactive control that the user can have with the overall benefit of the user experience in mind. The next point that Apple talked about was the update to Apple AirPods with the introduction of shaking and nodding your head to answer or reject calls hands-free. I think that we've all been in the situation where we can't answer the call because our hands are busy, or like the example Apple gave of being in an elevator full of people, carrying a box, and we don't want to be that awkward person putting the box down to answer the call. I particularly like this feature because of me being in a wheelchair most of the time. My hands are constantly being used to get around, and I think this feature will be very helpful for me not to have to stop my forward motion to answer or decline a call. They also brought up the updates coming to the Apple Watch. Some updates include more exercise for swimmers, which for me is great because I do enjoy swimming and I was a swimmer in high school. Also, I can't be the only one that had to get over the fear of wearing the Apple Watch in the pool, right? I mean, our entire life we were told tech doesn't go in the water. First-hand experience, me losing all of the footage on one of my cameras when I went whitewater rafting on the Colorado River. And now we're told that it's totally cool for our phones and watches to get wet. It still makes me totally uncomfortable. Anyway, done with that rant. They also talked about a new update called Training Load, where you can see the intensity of your workouts and see if you're overtraining or undertraining. I think this will be a helpful tool for people, not me, who go to the gym and track their workouts and the amount of stress that they would like to put on their body. Honestly, the amount of updates that are coming to the Apple Watch could be on its own video. If you'd like to see a video on that, please let me know. Now on to what I consider the big three of Apple softwares: iPadOS, macOS, and iOS, all of which had a good amount of announcements this year. It's a good thing that the iPad got almost all of the same updates that the iPhone did. But the iPad did get what a lot of people, including myself, believe to be a really big update, and that is the Calculator app. Everyone is excited about the fact that there is now a Calculator app on the iPad. But it's not just the fact that there's a Calculator app, it's also the fact that you can now write down a math problem and it'll solve it for you using a process called Math Notes. While using Math Notes, you can now write down a problem on the iPad and the iPad will solve it for you. Not just basic math, but complex equations that would normally need a scientific calculator or a graphing calculator. This means that you can graph and adjust the numbers while working on the problem. I know that when I was in college taking math classes, this would have been really helpful, but then you run into the issue that you yourself are not doing the math and the machine is. But we don't need to talk about that. I also like the fact that the Notes app will automatically adjust your writing with SmartScript to make it more legible, so that if you're writing really fast and you're not really caring about being able to read it later, it will make it to where you can read it later. Again, another thing that would have helped a lot when I was in college. I'm starting to feel like how I felt after I graduated middle school and high school, and they remodeled the entire campus after I left, and now only younger kids get to reap the benefits. Anyway, on to macOS. The Apple laptops and desktops are getting an update, and the name of this software is called macOS Sequoia, which of course is named after the Sequoia National Park. Personally, I'm starting to wonder what's going to happen when Apple runs out of places in California to name their software after. This year, the newest macOS has some major additions, with things like window tiling, something that I've been missing since I moved over to Apple from my old PC. Also, a new password app that I think will be really helpful for people. There was a way to get to your passwords before, but you had to go through all of the settings. Now it's just there in an app. One thing that I find to be the biggest announcement when it comes to macOS Sequoia is that we can now mirror our phones as if we're on the phone on our screen. I know that we have the ability to access our text messages and our calendars and some of the other apps that are offered on our phones, but to actually have our phone on the screen where you can just swipe through the things and use your phone while you're on the computer, it means that you don't necessarily have to stop what you're doing to take your hands off the mouse and keys and grab your phone to answer a text message or look at something from the apps that keep me up at night. Also, when talking about macOS Sequoia, one of the biggest things that was glanced over was the announcement that the fact that you can drag and drop to import videos and photos onto your iPhone in the mirroring display. This takes away the many steps from having to use AirDrop. Don't get me wrong, AirDrop is one of the best things and probably one of the #1 reasons why people stay with Apple, even though Samsung has their own version now. But being able to drag and drop onto your phone while mirroring your phone is awesome. One of the last features that they talked about during the announcement of the new macOS was they talked about a new feature for web search called Highlights, where basically it summarizes the web page, gets rid of all of that fluff. One thing that I thought about when they talked about highlights was, how is this going to fare with ads that are being placed onto websites? Because from what I understand from the examples of highlights, it also gets rid of the ads. So is it effectively an ad blocker? I want to know your guys' opinion on that. Comment it down below. The next feature that was talked about was iOS 18. Keep in mind, most of the updates from iOS 18 are also making their way to iPadOS, and it's quite interesting. If you're a Samsung user and you're watching this video, you already are used to having immense amounts of customizability, and I know that when I was an Android user, I loved the amount of customizability that I had, but I also had a problem with making up my mind when it came to the themes that I wanted to use. That's one of the reasons why I like Apple so much, because it was kind of just straightforward. But now iOS 18 is coming with immense amounts of customizability that other companies have had for a while now, but just like everything else, Apple had to do it their way. So now you're able to customize the color of the apps using a thing called tinting, and you can place the apps wherever you'd like in any order that you'd like. I've heard from some people that the tinting part is kind of an issue in some apps, but I'm sure it'll be corrected in a software update soon. They're also expanding Control Center to a point of being able to customize, as well as being able to have multiple pages of Control Centers. You can also change the shortcuts that are in the bottom left and bottom right hand corners of the iPhone that are normally reserved for the flashlight and the camera. But I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I'm probably not going to be changing these apps because I'm so used to having the apps right there, but it might benefit someone somewhere. Another big topic that was talked about during the announcement of iOS 18 was the fact that you can now hide apps and lock apps within your phone so people can't see them. So now you can hide apps like Minecraft on your phone so that your girlfriend doesn't know that you're still playing Minecraft at age 26. There were also a bunch of big announcements with emojis and text messages and Apple Pay and a bunch of other stuff. If you'd like for me to go into more depth into those items, please let me know in the comment section down below. Now, on to a couple of the things that I'm not too excited about, and I really wanted to get your guys' opinion to see if I'm the only one who actually thinks of this kind of stuff. The first feature that I'm not too excited about, and maybe it's just me, is the fact that they're updating the photo app. I understand that the software gets updated over time, but I'm not quite sure that I'm a big fan of the experience that they're wanting to put off in this one. I haven't used iOS 18 yet, so I can't speak from first-hand experience, but the first initial impressions that I have from the examples, not too excited about it. I wanted to know what you think. You never know. I may end up liking it later, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video one day. And the last thing that was probably the biggest thing that Apple announced during WWDC, that was the introduction of AI to the iPhone. Artificial intelligence has been in phones of all makes and models, and every app that we use, from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, they all have some form of AI built into it. And now Apple has decided that they are going to integrate more AI into the phone, and I don't know how I personally feel about it, because it just seems to take away a lot of the user experience while also increasing the user experience. So to me, it's kind of a gray area. I know that there's a lot of people in the world right now who are not too big of fans of AI. Personally, I'm on the fence because I can see a lot of good from it, but I've also seen movies like The Matrix where AI can get out of hand. I understand that it's a movie, but we have to keep in mind that there are repercussions to making technology that can be overly smart, and we should keep it in check. I like some of the features that are coming out with it, like being able to make your own emojis and calculating the best routes and the quickest way to get there with planning and scheduling, but everything else, like what could be going on in the background and what happens when your phone knows too much. I also question the amount of privacy. I know that Apple talked about in depth the privacy standards and how Apple Intelligence is solely based in phone and they rarely go to the cloud to service unless they need to answer certain questions. Personally, I'm wondering how many security measures they've placed on the AI in the phone from outside sources being able to get into it, and that could be a whole nother video all on its own, with ad manipulation, life manipulation, with other people being able to gain access. There's so many gray areas into it, and I want to know what you guys think. How do you feel about the announcements from WWDC? Were you excited? What were some of the things that you were like, oh, maybe that's not a good idea? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, give it a like. If you really like this video, hit that subscribe button and consider joining the family. As always, the merch link is in the description down below. Use discount code BOOSH10 for 10% off at checkout. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay classy. Bye. Welcome to the end of the video, guys. For those who like to stay till the end to see what I'm talking about, this is the Lego film camera. It's got a whole bunch of really cool designs in it, including this awesome camera strap. Let's see if I can get it to focus really quick. It's got Lego bricks on it. The top of the camera has some pretty cool features with this windy thing here for the film, a setting adjuster, and then you have this cool little lens. The other thing that happens is you can open up the back and it has a strip of film on the inside with stickers. It comes with 2 different strips of film. This is the other strip here. Let's see if it'll focus. It's got a giraffe on it. Come on, there you go. And it's just really fun. I like to put the film on top like this, and it just sits on the shelf next to all of my real cameras. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.